up, YouTube? Tommy Diablo here, the Uncommon Trucker. Coming at you today from the jungle around Virginia. I'm heading to make a drop out of Walmart, DC in Virginia. Enjoying the day. It's kind of cloudy, a little bit misty. I like driving in the fog, so it's a good day for us. Today, I want to talk about staying fit, or at least trying to stay fit, and some things you can do to help out your fitness level while you're on a truck. So everyone knows that truck driving can be a rough job to keep any level of physical fitness going. And I've seen plenty of people that come into this job and they're different levels of fitness, but some are, close to being fit, some not so fit, and some very fit. And I think that it's a real balancing act with your health in this job, because if you don't take your health seriously, you can start a decline that becomes hard to stop. This job can really take people that have a tendency to be a little bit heavier, and it can make that worse. Because we all know that as you're sitting here spending hours every day driving, sometimes you're bored, and boredom causes you to want to smoke or eat or drink, and that unchecked can be bad for you. And I'm certainly not a person that's gonna tell you that, oh, you better not smoke and you better not eat junk food. But yeah, I think it's no doubt that smoking in the truck is a little bit rough. You can make it hard on a partner, especially if you have a partner that doesn't smoke. So I think anybody that is smoking ought to try to smoke less at the very minimum, or quit. It's been shown that it's not good for you. It's rough on the people that are next to you. It's rough on the truck. We've all gotten into a truck where you can smell that the previous occupant of that truck was a smoker. So, I think it's just better if you don't, or if you do it less. At any level of doing it less, that's great. And I think that in any of this stuff that I'm talking about, certainly it's great if you can just turn a corner and become magically 100% better at any part of it. But I think that if we think about it, just in thinking about being better, we are a little bit better. Just in the thinking of it. And if you are conscious of things that you want to improve, that helps you improve them. And I think, like I said, just keeping some of these things in your mind will help you think about them and help you deal with them and help you be better. So, first off, let's talk about snacks. All right, so we all spend X amount of time every day in a truck stop, fueling, wandering around, using the restroom, taking showers, doing laundry. And some of us spend more time, some of us spend less. I find that the less time I spend inside a truck stop, the better, A, for my health, and B, for my wallet. It can be pretty expensive. If you're eating out of a truck stop 2 or 3 times a day, each time you're spending $15 to $20 on your meal, well, you could easily be in this situation where you're spending $50 to $80 a day in truck stops. That's a lot of money. And when you're, as we've talked about before, when you're not making hundreds and hundreds of dollars every day, that $50 or $60 a day can be rough. And if you're a smoker, you can add another $10 to $20 right onto that, depending on how much you smoke. So I think that limiting your time inside the truck stop, that's definitely the first step towards eating a little bit better on the truck, because it stops you from taking the easy way out. I think that once a week, the way I try to do it is I have a short day. I run on recaps, but I always end up with a short day every week of less drive time and a little bit of more free time for one day. And I'm lucky actually if it's only one day, because sometimes the situation just presents itself that you have more than that. But I go in once a week at least and shop, and you know, luckily, I know it's not for everybody, but luckily I have a refrigerator in my truck. And if not, then you know, even a cooler. I've seen a lot of these plug-in coolers that work great, or even ice. You know, every terminal has ice. You know, you can buy bags of ice, and I know it's a pain in the butt, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And I shop at Walmart, and I buy things that are better for you. And the things that I stay away from, I stay away in my own personal life in carbs in general. I'm not buying any bread at all. I'm not eating any processed sugar at all, and I'm not eating the high carb vegetables that are out there. And there are a lot of choices for lower carb things, but I'm really staying away from breads and sugars, and that's a big thing, because in the truck, your activity level is just not giant. You're not spending a lot of time every day. You're not spending a lot of time every day exercising, and some days you're lucky if you're spending any time exercising. So that activity level being so low, I don't believe that you can afford to intake much in the way of carbs and still maintain your weight. And really, let's talk about that too. Maintaining your weight, that's the very minimum I think you should be trying to do. I think if you're gaining weight on the truck, and there's a lot of people, and actually I would say there's certainly more people gaining weight than maintaining their weight on the truck. But I think if you're gaining weight, if your clothes are getting a little tighter, you need to start thinking about trying to do things a little bit differently. I think that the national average for calories intake per day is probably around 2,500, anywhere 2,000 to 3,000 calories, and a couple hundred grams of carbohydrates a day. Well, I personally, I strive to keep my carbohydrate gram per day index down below, certainly below 30, and for me, I'm trying to shoot for 20 and less. And some days I'm getting 4 or 5 grams only, which my body type, if I don't watch my weight, I will get heavy, and it happens quick. I think that anybody that's trying to maintain their weight should try to keep their carbohydrate intake to 30 grams or less a day. That's just my opinion. And there's going to be a lot of people that don't agree with that. And I think the different body types are going to handle carbohydrates differently as well. I mean, we all know the people that are thin, and no matter what they eat, they stay thin. Those people, I'm jealous. You know, that's a gift. How wonderful is that? But a lot of those same people, the fact that they stay thin means they can never gain weight. So I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4", I weigh 230 pounds. I'm a big guy. If I had that same metabolism, you just don't see those people getting to be, they might be taller, but they don't get the body mass that I'm used to having. But there's a trade-off on that, and that if I don't watch it, my body mass can get bigger than I want it to. And I have, my lifetime, I've gained and lost a significant amount of weight 100 times. I've been very athletic in my life, and I've been fit and unfit numerous times, and that roller coaster, it's not good for me. You know, it's not the best way. But at this point, you know, I'm around 50, and I'm still in pretty good shape. I have tried and been trying to, you know, pay attention to it, and unfortunately, as you get older, it gets a lot harder to keep those pounds off. But I think if you're conscious of it and you're making an effort,
Approaching Hope Railroad crossing.
that it can be done. So like I said, I think you need to shop for food. For my typical shopping basket when I go to Walmart is I buy a couple pounds each of cold cuts, and that's lean meats. I buy mostly hams and roast beefs and turkey. I stay away from the sausage cuts because they tend to be they've got a lot of filler. You got to watch your salamis and your salamis and your pepperonis, because they tend to get a little bit carbohydrate intensive. And the whole thing is you got to look at labels. That's the key, is looking at labels. I don't want anything that has more than 2 grams of carbs per serving, no matter what. I won't buy it. If it has more than 2 grams of carbs per serving, I just won't buy it. But, having said that, I typically buy Swiss cheese because it's one of the lowest carbohydrate cheeses there are. And some people don't like Swiss. I like it because it's got a good flavor. But any cheese, really, you're going to be in the 100 calorie, 1 gram of carbs per slice. And sometimes it's 2 slices. It depends on how thick it is. But for an ounce, you're going to be in the 100 calories and 1 gram per slice range. The meats, you're going to be a little bit less, especially if you're going lean turkey or lean roast beef. You're going to be in the 70 or 80 calories and some 0 carb, which is great. And then, like, if you're in salami and pepperoni, you can definitely get into the 200 calories per ounce and 3 to 4 grams of carbs in some of them. But there are lower carb salamis and pepperonis that are out there. And fortunately, I love the taste of a good salami and a good pepperoni, so I seek out the lower carb versions of that. But moving on. And so I usually buy, like I said, the cold cuts. I buy a bag of salad, and I buy the salad that doesn't have a lot of carrots, because carrots really bump up the carb intake. Lettuce by itself has basically 0 carbs and 0 calories. So, and it's not 100% 0-0, but plain lettuce has very low carbs and very low calories, and it's a good filler. If you eat a lettuce only salad, it can really contribute to making you full. And I have a bottle of apple cider vinegar in my cabinet. I splash it with apple cider vinegar. And what's odd too is that everyone thinks Italian dressing is the best one for you for your health. Well, if you're going low carb, keto type diet, you need some fats, you need no carbs. And actually, strangely enough, Hidden Valley Ranch dressing has some of the lowest carb count per serving of any salad dressing you can buy. So I usually splash my salad with a bit of apple cider vinegar and then give it a dash of Hidden Valley Ranch dressing. It's great. And like I said, I buy a bag of salad. Mostly I look for the romaine, the lettuce blends without a bunch of the shredded carrots and that stuff. Then I also buy I either buy a head of lettuce wrap leaves, or I buy the pre-stripped long, and I believe it's romaine lettuce, the leaves for lettuce wraps, and those are something I eat a lot of. And I buy a little bag of colored bell peppers as well. Those things are great. Bell peppers, very low carb, very good for you. I usually buy a box of pre-shredded in the chiller counter. They have these cartons, and they're about $8, and it's about a whole shredded chicken. And sometimes they have flavors with them, but they're low carb, shredded chicken ready to go. And that usually finishes out. I'll buy a couple of 2-liter bottles of zero product sodas as well. And that finishes out my basket. And in that, I have pretty much set myself up for a week on the truck. And some of the things I make are I take the cold cuts and cheese, and I also always have a jar of pickles, dill pickles. I take the cold cuts and cheese, I take the remaining lettuce leaves and I make lettuce wrap sandwiches. I take a slice of cheese and a good chunk of meat, a few pickles, give it a splash of mustard, make a lettuce wrap, and that is great. Those are awesome. I also do a lot of, I'll take just the meat and cheese and roll it up into little rolls. Sometimes I have a little mustard, sometimes I don't. I eat those. I often take the small bell peppers, I cut the top off, split them open. I heat up a little bit of that chicken, a couple ounces of the pre-made chicken. I'll take a pickle, I'll stuff a pickle slice in there and some chicken, a little bit of salsa, and I'll make stuffed bell peppers out of those little bell peppers, and I usually eat 2 at a time, and that's one serving, I would call it. And that's a great way as well. I'll eat a salad sometimes, and I usually eat a cup of salad. I go, everything I do, if I'm eating anything, it's a cup and a serving. And I watch what the serving sizes are too, because that can be very misleading when you see a bag of something and it says, per serving 1 gram of carbs, but then there's 10 servings in the bag, and you can easily sit there and eat 5 or 10 servings. That's kind of defeating the purpose. But the overall takeaway is that lunches and dinners are taken care of right there. And then for breakfast, the one thing I do buy in truck stops all the time is the pre-boiled eggs. I usually buy them 2 at a time, 4 at a time. I always buy pre-boiled eggs, and I'll buy a couple of bags of lowest carb that I can find pork rinds too, because it's always nice to have something to munch on. But breakfast, if you have to buy something at the truck stop, I think that breakfast is kind of the best time, because you can often find a truck stop that's selling breakfast type things with, you can eat your sausage and your bacon. Those are all low carb and keto friendly, and a couple of eggs. For me, like I said, my breakfast consists of 2 boiled eggs every day. Those 2 boiled eggs, 0 carbs, 140 calories. It's a great way. I feel nice and satisfied and full. I also they have pre-made omelet cups. They come in a 2-pack, and then these little hockey puck sized scrambled egg concoctions that you throw in your microwave, heat up, boom, 2 grams of carbs. They taste great. If you get the ones that have meat in them, you can get the 3 cheese ones. There's a bunch of different varieties of them, and they really taste great. So that's pretty much my food for the road, and I work through that for a whole week. I watch it. I really only eat twice a day as well, and I myself do a controlled fasting situation where I only eat. I stop eating, and I don't eat again for 16 hours. So I have a 16-hour period of every day that I don't eat, and then I only eat during an 8-hour period every day. So I start at noon, and which is hard for some people because they really like breakfast. Well, I don't eat anything until noon, and between 12 and 8, I'll eat 2 meals, or I'll eat 5 meals, whatever, but I'll only eat during that 8-hour period. And then for my calorie intake, I'm staying below 1,200 calories every day. I think that at that level, that allows me to exercise some. I never feel beat down, but my metabolism is such that I don't have to eat a lot to stay active. That's just, it doesn't take a lot of calories. And if I get into a 2,000 or 2,500 calorie a day diet, I will get fat, and I'll get fat quick. So I know that at 1,200 calories or so, that I I can probably maintain it, and that still means that I have to do some exercise every day. And then that moves us into the next phase of exercise. I myself have a pair of 35-pound dumbbells and a pair of 30-pound kettlebells that I keep on the truck at all times. That allows me to do a whole regimen of exercises inside the truck. And in another video, I'm going to show exercise routine that I do, and I'll go through them and I'll probably individualize them. There's a biceps routine, a triceps routine, a chest routine, a shoulders and back routine. I stay away from my lower body because I also have my bicycle strapped onto the back of the truck. And I run a 7-3 and an 8-2 split every day, so I have a break in the middle of my day that's 2 to 3 hours long that I just have to be off duty. I don't have to be in the sleeper, so I try as often as possible to unstrap my bicycle and take a 1-hour bicycle ride during that break, and that really handles my lower body workout. But so I'm really trying to get between a half hour and an hour to an hour and a half, because if I do a dumbbell workout and a bicycle ride, that's an hour and a half. My dumbbell workout for each group is going to take up a half hour. So that kind of is my guide, and I try to do that at least 5 times a week, if not more. You know, ideally, I think that you're working out, you're exercising every day a little bit. That's ideal. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes your schedule doesn't work that way, but I think that's ideal. So, to recap everything, I think you've got to stay away from the carbohydrates, stay away from the breads and sugars, stay away from corn, stay away from potatoes, stay away from the French fries. I think you've got to try to limit your overall caloric intake to about 1,200 calories, and I think you've got to spend an average of 5 hours a week exercising to maintain your weight. I'm also going to get into some exercises you can do by the wheel, behind the wheel, I mean. You know, there's a significant amount of exercises that you can do just to keep yourself moving and burning calories while you're driving. And we'll get into that in the next video as well. But I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little overview of things that you can do and ways that you can try to be proactive about your health on the road, because you owe it to yourself to watch your health. So once again, this is Tommy Diablo, the Uncommon Trucker, talking fitness today. Hit the like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you later. Have a great day.